The Twos, Loki by Natalie Holt, and Tales from the Loop by Philip Glass and Paul William Morgan.
I know what this place is. The timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
Another female composer, Natalie Holt.
Natalie Holt.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, even though this isn't my number one, the show Loki with Tom Hiddleston, it's short little series. I think I don't know.
So
if
I
it's
haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait. Now that you mentioned again, I need a cross-reference list.
Well, it's pretty short. It's only like 6 episodes or something, right? And so you get to it pretty quickly. But there's a female Loki in it because what the deal is there's this place called the TVA, and it's kind of outside of time and space. It's the Time Variance Authority, and it's these 3 figures that control all of time, right? Because you have all these magicians and everything in all the universe, right? And they're there to make sure everything kind of goes still according to plan.
They're like the moral police or the ethics.
But whose plan
board.
is it, right? Like, so are they controlling it? Is this not a good thing, or are they really there to do a good thing? And that's kind of what it explores. And it's kind of prison for him the way it starts. And I won't give too much away, but there's all these different various Lokis that have popped up because of the time variances.
Right.
That's what they call them. They're a variant.
Right.
And there's this female one, and she's a badass and adorable in such a good way. And paired with him, with his badass and adorableness too, that when I watched it, I fell in love with them. Yeah. Throughout watching it, but a lot of it is the music. Right. Natalie Holt. Oh my gosh, this one out of anything I've watched recently, the way it hits you. In fact, let's just take a listen to the intro and you'll see.
Feel it. Yeah. Let's just feel it.
Feel it. Isn't that so
That is
fun?
And also, it has an air of like confidentiality, sort of like, or classified.
Yeah, classified.
Which is confidential, but still classified.
At the highest form.
A governmental like element to it, you know. So
yeah, it just.
But it's not too dark. It's
No,
kind of
it's
a
not
light,
at all. It's light.
like kind of, bouncing down the lawn and
like the waves of time,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
probably actually a pretty good assessment of that. So I wonder
Even
if
that
that's
is the sound of it's
that
kind of
almost
wavy.
like Morse
like,
code though to me too.
That too, yeah, yeah.
But again,
It's very. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that you almost kind of feel that femininity perception of it, but the perception of whatever information they're provided before, as a composer, like, hey, you're on this project now. This is what we have in mind for what we want to hear out of you. Hear you create. It is.
We can't tell you to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
Most immediately, there's going to be some things that you're going to be able to get that other people in the office don't get. One of them, gym membership.
You want me to lose weight?
I don't want you to lose weight.
No, we can't legally ask you to do that.
We didn't say lose weight. I might say tighten.
Tight.
Tighter.
Just like toned and smaller.
Don't make everything smaller. I don't want to generalize that way. Tighter.
We don't want you to lose weight. We just want you to be healthy.
Okay.
By eating less. We would just like it if you go home and step on a scale and write down how much you weigh and subtract it by like 20 and then weigh that much.
The amount of magic or the level of magic or the type of magic that is going to come out of that particular composer or group of composers at times is all based on, though, their perception and understanding of the ideas that are being presented to them. So it is.
It
even
showed
if
a good
there's-
grasp of the source material.
which I find to be a whole nother level of unique saturation for that
And
project.
And this theme, even on just a fun little tickle my 7-year-old feeling sounds, like it starts with the little
Yeah, I
like
know,
time
right?
ticking away,
Yep.
and when it comes in with the big those big things, it's like that's what I would imagine if I was a kid thinking about Loki, the mischievous
Something being
god,
like, larger than life,
Yeah.
and totally, it makes sense. And you know what else I love about scores is their creative way of making you feel those individual things, like you just said, like okay, the spacey kind of sounds or the time ticking away. You can emulate that sensation, and it doesn't always have to be a click necessarily.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It can be just a cadence or a pattern, or you have a lot of different mediums at your fingertips to be able to make those different elements feel like those kind of generic words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I find that
Totally.
to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We heard one recently that had like breaking glass in it, and that was an element of the song. And it's like at first, when you first hear it, you get the ear tickle that something's different.
I don't think that's a regular
but you
instrument.
you can't quite place it. And then you go back and you listen to it again, or we do.
Yeah,
You
right.
listen to it again. And then, you know what, it just, anyway. It helps lend to that actual sensation of that tangible thing.
Yeah. And it's been really fun too because that's in the Disney family with Marvel, and so she got the Obi-Wan Kenobi gig. So I've been watching that just came out. And she's rocking it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, John Williams wrote the theme for Obi-Wan Kenobi for it.
Yeah.
You know, at 90 years old.
Jeez. What an accomplishment.
I know.
So jelly.
It's big time. But she weaves some of that stuff in there, but she's doing a really good job of it. So anyway, it's just awesome celebrating these. That's 3 on our top 10 of Boombox themes so far.
Yeah,
we've already had 3 female composers. It's cool. It's cool because I was just thinking recently, like, why are we not seeing that more?
Oh Lord, what did I see? Rage in the mirror, looking back at me. I chained my dreams in my backyard. The birds won't sing, coming up, give me peace of mind. Oh Lord.
There was a lot of things when I was growing up that I felt like I
didn't have a voice for, probably,
right, or
could identify with.
That, exactly, right. So, music's always been a part of my life in some capacity, and so initially it was like singing, finding artists that had the same type of vocal range that I did, or popular artists, that I could sing to in the bathroom, in the shower or whatever. The trend at that time were soprano type voices, for the most part.
Growing up in the 80s, dude.
Male
if
and
I could have
female.
seen me more, I would have been able to write so much cooler music early on. Instead of trying to, I remember being in middle school or something. Our history teacher played guitar too. I was in high school. And I brought my guitar up there. We were playing songs. He played a lot of Jimmy Buffett, but Margaritaville and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just jamming with him all day long. I took the whole day off doing that with him. It was toward the end of school or something. But after I got done playing Skid Row, I Remember You.
Yeah.
One of my girlfriends came up and she was just like, yeah, it sounds good, but you're not used to singing those kind of songs, are you? And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Thanks for shattering my dreams.
Like trying to compete with that stuff.
Man.
I just felt I was so out of
place.
That's not what my voice is. It took me forever to figure that out. And I have early recordings of myself that sound really silly because I just didn't know what to do with my voice for so long.
Me too, same thing. And my dad would be
Don't
like,
do my voice in so long.
Yeah, right. And my dad would be like, what is this? Do you have a dog in your room? I'm like, I was singing. Like, what do you mean? And it's because I was trying to fit myself into a box I didn't belong in, and because there wasn't as much representation for, some of the more unique things that I liked. And I love
exactly
seeing, that we have some female composers that are, into maybe, I don't know if they decide by content whether they're into something or, not, if that's going to determine whether they take the job or not. But I would like
They're
to
still
think,
putting their spin on it, though.
Right, they are. And I would like to think that, hey, these are some things that I can identify with this person on, and they can be a role model.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because those were not as well known in my time of more creativity.
Yeah.
Or even when I wanted to grow those areas of my life. So that's been really encouraging to me in terms of the feminine aspect of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a fun transition into your number 2, which is what?
What do you do?
When someone says something's impossible, I prove it's possible.
Not everything in life makes sense.
Tales from the Loop is a genuine cinematic experiment. I really feel like it's a film lover's television show.
You wouldn't understand.
Yes, I would.
Tales from the Loop.
Tales from the Loop.
Which ironically has 2 male composers. I didn't pay attention to that
But 2
before.
composers, like you were talking about,
Yeah.
the different perspectives.
Different perspectives had a different... Well, actually, I'll get into that in a minute. Let's just talk about Tales from the Loop for a minute.
Yeah.
What a profound...
Another one.
Oh my gosh, cerebral.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something that's like thought-provoking and, just on another level.
But also an appreciation of artists and artistic abilities, because
Absolutely.
it comes from, it's based on a book.
Right.
It's almost like what do you call that? Like almost like a storybook, because it's
short stories,
photographs,
right? Yes.
Images,
Illustrations.
Yeah, illustrations by Simon Stålenhag.
Oh, I loved them too when I went and looked.
Oh God, it's so good.
They're
I bought it. I had to have it. That book in there that I have, because it's got those. Tales from the Loop has these. It's almost like a dystopian kind of future thing, but it's got these robots intertwined with them, but just sparingly.
Yeah.
And so the book itself is kind of like these. It reminds me of pastures out in Kansas with these robots in the middle of it. It's real cool that way.
It's real and
Nouveau.
yeah.
I've tried to be incredibly faithful to Simon's artwork in that you'll see a lot of the structures or robots are identical to what he depicted. So there are definite circumstances where we try and match that moment that I was inspired by.
As a painter or like as an artist, Tales from the Loop work is about being a kid and growing up and realizing that the adults doesn't have a clue what's going on.
Anything is possible down there.
It's almost like they have evolved, or not evolved, but they time-wise have gone so far past when those robots were created. They're like the litterings of the leftovers of that, robotic time, because now they're more advanced and futuristic, than that. But they don't live necessarily as...
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that, but your number 2 and my number 2 are both time related. But again, actually, let's take a listen to it.
Yeah, let's listen to it.
that's one of those ones that, you know how people do it on YouTube where they'll just take something and loop it for like 10 hours?
Oh, I love those.
I could do that with this one.
I know you're not a fan usually, but yes, for you to say that's pretty,
right? Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty profound.
Thank you for remembering that. Yeah, I can't do the repeat thing. I always need options. And the whole soundtrack has that kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best to read to. I read to it all the time because it's just so thought-provoking but subtle and
ambient,
sweet, and
ambient,
mysterious,
grounded, and mysterious and unknown, but
all just with like probably. I don't know.
15
not very
notes,
many
like
exactly. Not very many patterns.
And it's very like a loose. It's got a cadence, but it's a very like stretched out cadence, almost like you're stretching out time.
Yep.
You know, and the ambience would be like stretching out time in the time-space continuum, which is related to their theme or the content. So
Jennifer could conceivably encounter her future self. The consequences of that could be disastrous.
Doc, what do you mean?
I foresee two possibilities. One, coming face to face with herself 30 years older would put her into shock and she'd simply pass out. Or two, the encounter could create a time paradox, the results of which could cause a chain reaction that would unravel the very fabric of the space-time continuum and destroy the entire universe. Granted, that's a worst-case scenario.
I mean, you know me. I'm all about the profundity anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
But
it has that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when you have music to match that, like this is the stuff that I wish I would have had when I was reading books. Because when I was reading books, you know what I was listening to? I was listening to 107.3.
Wilson Phillips.
Someday somebody's gonna make you want to turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day,
I have that on tape, so no lie on that. Or 101.5 country music. And let me tell you, those two stations do not always fit the things that I was reading.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And a lot of times that can take you out of the element.
Totally.
And if you have a series or a show, or a movie that has bad music, and we hate to measure things by good or bad, right? Because but if
something doesn't resonate with you,
right, and it can totally take you out of that experience when what they're trying to do is draw you deeper into that experience.
Yeah, exactly.
So this one's like a magic carpet ride, sort of like I'm just gonna lay here and just ride on the flow of jet streams.
It totally beckons you. No,
it's like a big question mark too. Like
it sounds like you're sitting down for story time. It's a tale.
Yes.
And it's the sweetest,
like a bedtime story.
Seductive, come listen to this. It's so
I wish
good,
you could see this
resist.
right now because it's really titillating.
But you know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh my God, hold on, whatever I'm doing, I gotta listen to this for a second.
Yeah, it's almost like hypnotic, and
it is,
and it's like a hypnotic curiosity.
Yeah.
And like sort of a innocent what's next.
Yeah.
Which welcome to my life. Like
well, which the little boy is kind of a main character in it, and it's got that innocent kind of vibe of it. All that guy's imagery almost kind of has that. So I guess that's why I like it, because it reminds me of being a boy in Kansas and looking at the old tractor that is rusted.
Well, I mean, imagine where we
57
both
Chevy over here that's been there for 20 years or whatever.
Where you have the broken down farm equipment and the old, refrigerators and whatever. I mean, it's not the same type of stuff, but it's the same concept.
Yeah.
We both grew up in more rural nature areas, and that was not an uncommon. Not that the areas were trashed out. It was just
what are you gonna do?
Abandoned, farm skeletons.
I'll do something with it later,
Yeah, and so it was very sort of captivating in that way.
We used to build forts with the hail bales. hay bales. And if I could have had like this on a Walkman or something while I would go in those little forts of the hay
Imagine how many
bales.
hours you would have spent in there, especially if you had on a loop. Like, imagine what we would have gotten accomplished.
Oh my
None of
gosh.
it worth anything.
No, but it would have been
so
super
much
creative.
fun. Yes, definitely. It does inspire creation. You know, that's what's funny too. I guess that's part of the whole, like, we're attempting to, try something new. It's like that whole creative development. It kind of feels a little bit like that.
Well, even I used to listen, like Mr. Young in science class to play
Creation
classical
and
music
discovery.
in high school. In physics, he did that. I think you might have had him for some other class. And when you took tests, he would do classical music and stuff like that. And
a lot of teachers did that.
It kind of feels like that, that learning
Plus,
kind of
I
classical
think-
vibe.
Yeah.
But in a really emotional depth way,
Yeah. And too, like, a lot of those classical, like old school classical songs were very, very saturated with emotion. And this is it's not lacking in emotion for sure, but it's like a meditative, like a streaming consciousness type of feeling or sensation. So yeah, this was a must-have on my list for sure.
Yeah. I'm totally glad you put it on there because it allowed me to have the different one because I would have put it on mine most years. I can say that about, but this one totally, absolutely at the top. And, and I wish I would have, speaking of having things when you're younger, I wish I had that to be able to play to when I was doing piano instead of Blue Moon.
Right.
I probably would have played a lot longer, even though I loved playing Blue Moon. It was so fun to play.
Ding it on, blue moon. You saw me standing here without a dream in my heart, without a love of my heart.
I don't mean bad thing on that.
No,
But if I had
but
more
this
stuff like
would have
this, is the
resonated
stuff I would have
more.
written,
Or if we even knew it was an option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows what we would have created.
Yeah, exactly.